Hey everyone. Today we're going to do a compact jig. The difference between a compact jig and a more finesse jig is we take a regular bass jig and we use a heavy hook, but a smaller hook. In this case, we have a quarter-ounce weedless sparkie head with a 2/0 Victory 11786 sickle style hook. Um, yeah, I use a lot of these sickle hooks now. I'm trying to put together a side by side comparison on the water, but I really like the bend, especially with the lighter wire ones. Like that Gamakatsu 4124 is just wicked, as is the Trokar 570. Uh, they're all pretty good hooks. But the thing what makes them nice is you hook a fish on this hook. I've never lost one. Anything hooked on that, never lost it. Now the downside to it, just like everything has an upside and a downside. The downside is if they're not eating it, if they're like just picking it up and light biting, these hooks don't always get them. But if you do get a solid hook in them, they're not getting out. They will not throw this hook. I've never had it happen. So that's why I'm using a lot of those. But anyway, enough of me talking about that. We're going to do, uh, this is just rubberized blue on black. One of the things I wanted to do this year is use a little more rubber. So what we have is a quarter-ounce sparky head, a 2/0 Victory 786 um, sickle hook, and the color is, again, this is that veined powder paint from Barlow's. This is the blue with black vein, and wait till you see the orange and black. That's another really nice one. Um, I'm getting all of them. uh, I really, really am liking this paint. So anyway, let's get started here. We're going to start with some black 210 denier flat wax nylon thread. As always, I'm not putting any glue on it because I'm actually using um, that little ball collar uh, so my thread won't slip down. I don't got to worry about it because I'm already at the bottom. So we got our base tied in, and the first thing I'm going to do is take some black. This is what you would call regular or medium grade round rubber. Um, Now, as far as the amount, what I like to do is I take a piece off. My fingers are in the way, but I make it it just reaches all the way around. Not much overlap, but it's not critical. It's only if, you're going to have some variation unless you want to try to count all those little individual ones, which I don't think anybody'd want to do that. So what I'm going to do is make a wrap here just to hold it in place, make sure I got the right length on everything. You don't want a lot hanging out the back or the top, but remember, we got to cut these strands loose. And I'm really cinching it down here because, again, we have to yank on this when we cut it. We have to pull on it pretty hard. So there's our black. This is a real easy deal, but I know the silicone versions are super effective, and this rubber is going to be it when you make a one of these compact jigs with rubber. It really has a lot of movement, even in cold water. And this is the printed rubber. This is blue with black stripes. course, when I was cutting it off of there, I had a little piece go awry, so I uh, have to kind of tie it in two separate places, which ain't a bad deal. That's just a little extra work, that's all, which I don't mind with doing this. There, we'll just hold that in place, and we'll flip this around and put our other little blue tab here to cover it. Now, it might look off kilter, but that's just because the head's wider here, so it doesn't look like our rubber wrapped all the way around, but it did. And now I'm just gonna make sure I got a really tight collar. And now we'll whip finish. See how easy that is? The hard part's coming up, which is separating these strands. Cinch it tight, and I'm going to do another one too. Cinch it nice and tight. Trim it off. A little bit of water-based head cement. Stuff always amazes me. It goes on like milk. Might have got a little too heavy, but the best way I found to separate this is holding, like I could grab both of these at the same time, but it seems like it separates better if you do one piece at a time and cut slow. Now we'll do our black. And you see, I had two spots where it broke free, and you'll have that. And the same thing on the back end. Now you see how that slipped in the vise. That's the one thing with this when it comes to the larger hooks. You're going to have with the peak vise, which the Griffin, you don't have that issue. It covers a wide range of hooks, where with this, I'm actually using a larger hook than what you normally would in this vise. So you do get some slippage, you know, every now and again. See, they didn't separate very well at all. And it's because I can't pull on it too hard because, again, it wants to slip in the vise, which, you're going to have little things like that from time to time. It doesn't matter. We'll get it. Do the black now. Yeah, it's Only a couple of them I have to pull out by hand. They separated, they just didn't go all the way down. Pros and cons with everything. With rubber, it's this, separating the strands. You get a little, no wonder that one didn't want to separate. You couldn't get, almost like it's glued together. Try to cut it again. There we go. I'm just going to do that rather than play around with my fingers here. And that's why you leave some extra length with this stuff. That should be pretty good. Might have one or two that didn't go all the way, but see, they're already separated. It's just they didn't separate all the way down to here. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do, make sure these are all completely separated. And then we're going to add our weed guard and a trailer. Now we're going to use a little bit of Loctite super glue gel. Remember, gel control on your weed guards. Because if you use regular super glue, it'll wick up the fiber, and what you'll get is the weed guard will be all white residue. One, you could tell I'm out of practice with rubber. I've only tied a few hundred of these rubber jigs in the last like 2 years. So uh, bear with me here. Especially a jig like this that has a lot of strands. It's all, and it's compact, so everything is right in the front. Okay, now we're going to put a trailer on. For the trailer, black blue pocket chunk. And this is the tiny pocket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about a 1/4 inch off of that. And that's just to um, shorten the profile up a little bit. Look to see where the hook comes out at. And thread her on. The reason I'm doing this is you get a real good idea of uh, what this jig is going to be like when you put the trailer on. It puts it in perspective of the kind of presentation that you're going to do with it. there you have it. Rubberized, blue and black. I know it's kind of sloppy to look at, uh, but you could shorten these up if you want. I like it long like that. It does a lot of things. It covers up the outline of the head, and it helps it. Even though this Sparky does stay flat in the bottom and keep the hook upright, this will make sure of that. And when you're dragging it along, um, these rubber legs really move. I mean, it's a little bit harder to tie, but they work still the same. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.